Recovery has given me my family back in a very profound way because when I uh, was just about at my bottom, found AA, I had daughters who were 6 years old and 2 years old, and I was living apart, tried to stay in touch as best I could, but there was a lot of pain and wreckage, especially in the lives of my daughters. And my daughters now are with me here in Maine. We have relationships which are deep in two different ways. They're two different wonderful women. And I have three grandsons. And so when I think of the young man that thought it was a good idea to walk away from that, and now as a grandfather, to look forward to any amount of time I have with these people, three of whom didn't even exist, that's just a continuing amazement to me in my sobriety.
I've heard it through the grapevine. Welcome. It's the AA Grapevine Half-Hour Variety Hour featuring the collected voices of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm Don, an alcoholic in Greensboro, North Carolina.
And I am Alice, an alcoholic in beautiful Oakland, California.
Hiya, Alice.
Hey, Don.
It's good to see you. Alice, I was going through, at the last conference, they were reviewing the corrections workbook. So my delegate, she wanted everyone to read it and any advice or any thoughts that anybody had about it. It was going to be reviewed at the conference. And I read the corrections workbook, which I've never.
Did you?
Man, I talked to the guy who does corrections in my district, and he said, nobody reads that thing. There's a lot of great stuff in that book.
Great information in there. I mean, it is true in Alcoholics Anonymous, just like it's true in the broader society, that if you want to hide something, write it down. Like, there's such great information. Just our pamphlets.
All the pamphlets.
Really great information.
Well, there's a lot of workbooks. There's the Public Information Workbook, the Treatment Facilities Workbook, the Accessibilities Workbook, archives, literature, steps, and they're all available on AA.org. So I read from the AA Corrections Workbook, and there was one article in there that really got me. It's called Beliefs About Corrections, Sharing from Two Members.
Yeah.
It was written by Tom I. and Harold L. They put together this bulleted list of 33 things, all kinds of observations about corrections work. And what struck me about it was how much of it isn't necessarily just about corrections work.
That's right.
Read the first two there.
We can help someone in the corrections facility by merely showing up.
Yeah.
You don't do anything for one person that you could or would not do for anyone in the group.
Yeah, I mean, I just love those because, like, don't do anything for one person you could or would not do for everyone in the group.
Yeah.
That applies in my meeting, too, with a new sponsee. I don't do something for my sponsee that I wouldn't do for anyone. And, you know, there can be a feeling of like, I really need to help this person.
And sometimes we do. Sometimes we should, and sometimes we shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
The chapter, Working with Others, goes into great detail about this, right? That sometimes we help people find jobs. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we let people stay with us. Sometimes we don't. That we don't not pay our bills to help other people, and we don't inconvenience our family.
One of the bullet points was the recovery program of AA is precisely the same for those on the inside as those on the outside. The people inside the walls are much more like us than unlike us.
I went to a meeting in my home group, and there was an announcement, could we give somebody a ride back to Oakland? And my home group was 45 minutes from my house. And I was like, I live in Oakland, I can do that. And it turns out that it was a guy, 8 years sober, who got sober in San Quentin, who got sober going through the book with a guy that I know and love. Hey, Marcelo. And that guy, Jarrell, was just out, I think, 5 days with 8 years sober.
Nice.
Jarrell and I are still friends.
Well, thanks to Tom and Harold for contributing to the workbook and putting together this bullet list of 33 things. They're just great.
Yeah.
I think they're just great for everyone to read.
Download it and read it and think about, could you be the ray of sunshine inside a correctional facility in your community?
There you go.
There are people out there that know how to do it and they've written it down, and you can do it.
Well, Alice, I'm excited that I got to meet our guest at the International.
Did you?
Came up to me when we were there. Leonard E. from Sanibel, Florida.
Woohoo! I'm excited to meet Leonard also.
And we're going to have a bunch of listener feedback, and we'll get Leonard in on that too.
Yeah. And we're going to wrap up today's show with our segment, Using the Traditions in Our Lives. This month is Tradition 7. Every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions.
But first, the news!
The news! Ding, ding, ding. The Grapevine and Lavinia apps on both iOS and Android are now available in most parts of the world, including Mexico, Central America, South America, Asia, Australia, Africa, and the European Union. Your subscription to the Grapevine and Lavinia through the app helps keep Grapevine Podcast growing and reaching more members of Alcoholics Anonymous around the globe. A big shout out to all of our listeners around the world, and a special thanks to everyone who subscribes.
Take me to your sponsor. Need a lift? Get our best of collection of jokes and cartoons from the Grapevine, all contributed and drawn by AA members. When you finish this delightful paperback, you too will be able to say, I'm at the very wit's end. Take me to your sponsor. It's only $14.99 in the store at aagrapevine.org.
I really appreciated that, Don. Thank you very much.
Oh, I love that book. I love both of those books because they got the cartoons in it.
I'm Leonard, an alcoholic. My home is on Sanibel Island in Florida, and my home group is Jumpstart. That's an open meeting that starts at 6:45 a.m. Eastern Time every day of the year on Zoom. And my sobriety date is February 27th, 1985.
Woo!
Thank you for having the door open for me when I got here, Leonard.
I was holding it for you.
Leonard, that's a 6:45 a.m. meeting, so anybody could join that meeting.
An online meeting.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good meeting. Yeah, it started in person before I joined it in kind of the Boston area, but now it's totally virtual. And it's a great meeting. About 30 of us and a lot of sobriety, a lot of newcomers.
What's the
Good
name
mix.
again?
Jumpstart. Because that's what you're doing at 6:45. You're jumpstarting your day.
That's right. Some guy's battery's dead and you're just going to go put the jumpers on.
When I moved to New Jersey, the group I fell in love with, because it's God's sense of humor, was the 7 a.m. meeting every day of the week. Like, you can get everything done by 11 a.m. if you go to a 7 a.m. meeting.
That's right. Exactly.
Yep, you got to get up though. I go to a 9:30 meeting on Saturdays, and I used to consider 9:30 to be extremely early. So
You're a night owl. That's why.
that's right.
Yeah.
So Leonard, what was going on with you when you first came to AA? What was going on inside that broke, and you said, I'm going to have to get help?
You know, with me, it was a little bit different because I sobered up in Casper, Wyoming when I was 34 years old. I was seeing a Jungian counselor, spiritual director, to analyze my dreams. And very interesting. And she's a wonderful woman. She's since passed. And one day, February 27th, 1985, I had a dream about women offering me alcohol. And I thought it was an interesting dream, like all my dreams. She looked at me and said, have you ever wondered if you're an alcoholic? And I answered honestly, and I didn't really know why I answered honestly, but I said, yeah, I have wondered. And then she said, well, I'm an alcoholic, And if you'd like to know how to go to a meeting tomorrow, I can let you know. And this shocked me because she was a nun. She was beautiful. I kind of had a crush on her, to tell you the truth. And the idea that she was an alcoholic stunned me.
She had you pegged too.
She had me pegged. Oh, yeah, she'd seen something. So I went to a meeting the next night at a guy's garage. It's February, it's cold in Casper. And I realized as it was going around the room, everybody was introducing themselves as an alcoholic. And I can remember where I was sitting, third row on the left, and I think, God, am I going to say that I'm an alcoholic? I'm here just to sort of,
Right.
follow up Margot's question. But by the time it got to me, it was like I was hearing somebody else say my name.
Yeah.
I'm an alcoholic, and that's the first time I've ever said that.
Ooh, that happened
And
to
it
me,
was.
Leonard. That my first
Yeah.
AA meeting was the first time I said out loud that I'm an alcoholic.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always thought, well, I was just going a spiritual direction. Then I went to AA. But I've been journaling ever since I was a teenager. I've been scanning all my journals into this AI tool.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an amazing opportunity. I said, because I knew I was going to talk to you guys, tell me a little bit more about my life before that day when Margot asked if I was an alcoholic. And it came back, quoting from my journals, basically saying your operating system was broken late 1984.
Whoa.
And, I'd taken a geographical cure, moving from Rhode Island to Wyoming. I'd divorced. My two daughters were 6 and 2 years old when I left. And it was a trail of wreckage. The journal, I would write things like, empty, empty. My fire is going out. Today, my life feels like punishment. And words, words. My life is so full of words, so many of them empty. And it dawned on me, I had worn so many masks for so long, it was just exhausting to keep it going. And then here was this odd door that opened up in my life, and I walked through it. I got a sponsor, and he was my sponsor for 30 years before he died, Jack.
Wow.
It changed my life because out of that exhausted spirit as a 30-year-old, I just didn't think there were any solutions. I just thought I had to work harder. I had to read more Thoreau. I had to do this. I just had to,
You were seeking.
I was seeking.
Yeah.
Yeah, with increasing desperation.
Yeah.
And then, God, I believe in a higher power. It's like the perfect timing that the seeking and the desperation got so excruciating that it was just the little tap of this wonderful woman's question.
Mm-hmm.
I was ready to walk through the door.
Mm-hmm.
What was your drinking like?
My drinking was kind of a stealth operation. I would do it alone. and I-
Undercover drinking.
Yeah, and more than that, I would wrap it in. I'd send my wife and my daughters off to church so that I could have some time with God. That meant some time with Jack, and and I had a little altar room, and I'd sit there drinking the alcohol as if I could turn it into something other than what was killing me by making it my thing.
You said altar. Did you have an altar?
Yeah, it's a little sun porch.
I
and-
would.
yeah.
Yeah, I did that. I
Really?
was the last 4 years of my drinking. I was very much trying meditation and things to try to get at why do I? I mean, I think I can control this if I just figure out why I drink so much, and I can't. I can't seem to control it. But maybe, and I think really, Leonard, and you're describing this as well. I was seeking a spirit in spirits.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
In truth, that is not fulfilling.
Yeah, it's going in the opposite direction. Yeah, my drinking was just part of fooling myself over and over. But alcohol was kind of what held it together until it didn't.
When you came in, how long did it take for you to get a sponsor and to begin the steps?
It was pretty early into it. I remember I went to a meeting in a church, and this guy, Jack, I just liked what he said. He was Irish. It turns out he was on the city council of the town. And he and I worked for the gas company, and the city council was trying to take over the gas company. So we were pitted against each other. But I thought this guy makes sense, and I don't think he will buy any of my BS.
Yeah.
I was kind of intimidated by him. So I asked him, I said, Jack, would you be my sponsor? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, how will it work? Because publicly, you and I are quoted in the local paper, calling each other names and doing all this stuff. Can you really be my sponsor? And he said, yeah. And I'll tell you how that's going to work. If you call up asking for help as an alcoholic, that's topic A, and I'll know how to answer. If you call up peddling more BS from the gas company, that's topic B, and I'll know how to respond to that too. So we just separated it,
Yeah.
and it lasted until he died. I was on Zoom with him the day he kind of had a stroke. He died shortly after, but he was an amazing sponsor, and he took me through the steps very early. We sat at his kitchen. I was always been a writer, so I thought, oh boy, an inventory. This is going to be like a small novel,
Yes.
And I get there with
Not the same kind of writing.
no, and he let me read about 2 paragraphs of it before he said, "Could we just cut to the chase here? What's really?"
What's really going on? Yeah.
Leonard, it sounds like you came in not having lost everything in your life. I mean, you've lost a marriage, and your family's broken up, but you sound like you're still doing well. You're going to a therapist,
Have a career.
which I did as well. I always told myself I'm not an alcoholic because my imagination of what an alcoholic was entirely different than what it actually is. What is an alcoholic? How would you describe that to someone?
Someone who can't control their drinking and who understands that they're not going to get the life they can have unless they do stop drinking. And that can happen at any level,
It's not about how much I've lost. My bottom really was the spiritual bottom,
Yeah.
lost emotionally and spiritually. I could see that there was going to be no end to this drinking, no matter what I did. And so I was willing to come to AA. And then they went around the room saying, so-and-so, I'm an alcoholic. And it was like a bus coming at me. It's like, what am I going to do? Oh, yeah, I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah. All 3 of us came in. We're not the low bottom alcoholics. It can be harder for people like us to come in because we look around and, I still have my teeth. I can get a job. And the delusion is because things haven't completely fallen apart outside, that I can fix the inside on my own and sort of manage it. And that simply isn't true. None of the 3 of us could quit entirely, could control the amount when we started.
Right.
I always swore I was leaving when happy hour ended, or when I finished that bottle, or I was only going to drink half of the bottle. And it's the inside stuff that is the biggest gauge for me of whether or not I've crossed the invisible line into alcoholism.
Oh, that's good.
Leonard, you've been sober 40, what did you say?
41.
41 years. What was the last growing edge for you?
Or the last delusion that fell away.
Yeah.
Well, Don, you might be disappointed in this, but it was when I decided to stop doing the podcast that I'd done for 14 years, because I did it every week, no matter what. We'd go on a vacation. I got to get the podcast up. And I got to a point of seeing I had defined myself with this hobby, really. I never made any money at it. And it felt excruciating to even imagine letting people like you, loyal listeners, down. How's the world going to spin? And it was really hard for me to just walk away from it. But now I feel so free. Yeah. I've got 3 grandsons. I've got, my wife, and we still have our health. It was giving up a piece of me that I thought was essential to who I was.
Ah.
That's the last time I really had to do that. And it was hard.
That, Leonard. We craft these identities that have depth and meaning for us, and maybe for other people, but then it ends. And the moving on might feel scary.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're able to do it, there's freedom in a whole nother identity waiting for us on the other side.
Isn't that life itself?
That is life itself.
When I first came in, one of my greatest fears getting sober was, who is Don going to be now because alcohol was my identity.
I need alcohol to be fun.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
And then same thing's true in retirement. I retired from a job. I was a painter and a muralist for a long time. Now I'm doing this. So what you're saying is when I give this up, it's going to be a struggle.
Yes, but there'll be something on the other side. I mean, I've started playing guitar seriously since then. And I'm just loving it. And I'm not building a resume anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just living my life.
This is recovery.
It is recovery.
Stepping into the unknown.
Yeah. There's a period where I'm not actually reinventing myself. I'm just willing to be nobody, a guy without a story. And then I might hear something my sister says, whoa, how about that? Or something I hear at a meeting, and if I've emptied the container that carried all this special stuff of my identity, a drop of rain might plunk into it and,
Be a miracle.
convince me to be a fisherman or something. I don't know.
It's time for listener feedback.
Dear Grapevine podcast team, thank you for the amazing work you're doing. Will there be a plain language big book in Spanish? And if so, is there any estimated timeline for its release? With gratitude, Angela M. from Katy, Texas.
Well, Angela, I sent this to the literature desk. Misha, the literature coordinator at AAWS, responded, and we have great news to share with you and your group. At the 2025 General Service Conference, a floor action directed AA World Services to begin studying what Spanish-speaking members actually need when it comes to accessing the Big Book, whether it's a plain language translation or something else entirely. A subcommittee is already at work. They reported progress to the 2026 conference, and they'll continue through next year. We won't know their recommendation until the 2027 General Service Conference in April. On a related note, work is also underway on a fourth edition of the Spanish Big Book, Alcohólicos Anónimos, Alcoholics Anonymous in Spanish. Sorry for the pronunciation. With a draft hoped for at that same 2027 conference. So the short answer is not yet, but the wheels are turning.
Thanks, Misha, and thanks, Angela, for the question and for your listenership. Now, here's a word stickler question. And Len, we want to get you in on this. The letter reads, "Good morning, Don, Alice, and Sam." You see, I've moved to second position above Sam. I just want to say that. I've noticed that some people refer to Alcoholics Anonymous simply as program. I got sober in Montana, where I more commonly hear people refer to my program. An example, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for program, compared to I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for my program. Is this an example of a regional difference in AA language or culture? My impression is that I hear it more often from people from the East Coast, though that could just be a coincidence. Thank you for your service on the podcast, and I look forward to listening every Monday. From Emily from Bozeman, Montana. Don, what do you think?
Well, I can say this much. When I type this up for our script, autocorrect does not want me to leave out the word "the" in front of program.
That's right.
It says "the program." But I know in my area, people say the program. I have heard people say program. And just like I think in England, people will say, I went to hospital instead of the hospital. So there are regional differences. I have no idea. Alice, you're in the West Coast, and Leonard, you're in Florida and in Maine. I know you're traveling between the two. So what about you, Leonard?
Yeah, program versus my program. I hear a lot of using a program, the example. I think I kind of like my program because it feels like there's such freedom in AA to, you can pick what kind of higher power, that to assemble what's saving your life and call it program, which is the word we all know equates to AA. I think that kind of opens a conversation there.
It's so funny, Leonard, because I had in my mind rejected the my program because I'm like, there's one program of recovery and it's in the 12 steps, the traditions and the concepts, and get with that, right?
That's where I went.
But I really appreciate you saying that I get to personalize this, and my ownership of it gives me not only agency, but more investment in it. I've lived in North Carolina, in Georgia, in New York, in California. I've really heard people say the program.
Yeah.
I just love that Emily captured this little idiosyncratic thing in AA.
Fellow word lover.
The fellow word lover. Well, the thing is, the program is how we get sober. And there's a difference between program, or my program, and fellowship.
Absolutely.
And that's a big difference. The fellowship is where we're all hanging out, and it's very important.
But it's only one side of the three sides of the triangle. It's the unity side. The fellowship does not include service or recovery. A lot of people come in and they think that the meeting is AA.
Mm-hmm.
And the meeting isn't AA. Meeting is a manifestation of unity, manifestation of the fellowship.
Yep, you got to dive into those steps. Alice, we got a lot of response to our talk about my drink of choice in sobriety on the May 11th episode. Alcoholics, it turns out, love to talk about drinking.
Who knew?
Even when we quit drinking. We just got all kinds of letters, and almost everybody who wrote gave us name brands, which the traditions won't let us use name brands, but here's some generalizations. One listener wrote, I agree with you, Don. My first coffee in the morning is truly a gratitude moment, plus that kick in the rear, which is truly needed. When I'm really thirsty, I grab an ice cold
bleepity bleep.
He names a soda with origins in the South. He says, I may not originally be from the South, but son, I can at least try. And there's a little winky face there. He says, oh yeah, I love grits with butter and pepper in the morning. Truly enjoy the podcast. Blessings to you all.
Jeff writes in and says, my favorite drinks are the sugar-free carbonated water drinks. Me too, Jeff. That tastes exactly like your favorite soda.
Sarah B. says she loves flavored, unsweetened sparkling water, particularly
bleepity bleep.
My recent favorite flavor is pineapple coconut. I'll close by saying, consistent with the traditions, AA is not allied, nor does it endorse any particular brand of soda or sparkling water. These are just my personal favorites. A little happy face there from Sarah B. in Sunnyvale, California.
Leonard, what is your favorite non-alcoholic beverage? What floats your boat?
I know it's not the healthiest choice, but I love
bleepity bleep.
it. I spent a
Another
summer.
name brand guy.
Oh, I know. I can't say that. All right. So let me scratch that.
So you're going to be upset about this, Leonard. I was in Waco, Texas, and I stopped, and there's a
bleepity bleep
museum.
Oh, I gotta go.
Well, I recently got a photograph from a friend who lives overseas, listens to the podcast. He sent me a photograph. I think it was the same episode. I was also talking about always having 2 or 3 drinks going at a time.
Yeah.
He said he had to laugh, and he took this photograph and sent it to me. And he's got an espresso, a cup of coffee, 2 other drinks going as well.
I need options.
Yeah, I need options every moment. So it was hilarious. We'll put that in Instagram. All right. We got this email with the subject line, love, love, love the app.
This comes to us from Jerry C. from beautiful Peachland, British Columbia in Canada. Episode 17, season 10. Way cool. Thanks again, as always, guys. And thanks to Josh T., the app guy. It's a guy that came up with the song.
Thanks, Jerry.
And then Cynthia P. writes, OMG, the app song. I love the song. But I fall asleep most every night to the podcast. My fellows tell me this is how I stay plugged in. Quite literally, I'm ear plugging in. Thank you, Cynthia.
Sleep tight, Cynthia. Well, I stay plugged in the same way, Cynthia. It seems like I'm always listening to podcasts and the music in my earbuds in my ear. So thanks for writing in. Thanks to everybody who wrote into the podcast. And Leonard, Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for joining us,
Oh, it
Leonard.
was so good to be here. Thank you.
Using the traditions in our lives. Folks, every month we ask past guests to share their experience with one of the 12 traditions. This month, Tradition 7.
I'm Laura, I'm an alcoholic from Albuquerque, New Mexico. This is Tradition 7. Every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. I actually think this is one of the more simple traditions for me to wrap my head around, that we didn't want to allow any other outside entities to kind of purchase influence through contributions. That if like a group was meant to exist, it would through the support of the membership that's attending the meeting. If there's like too many 8 p.m. Friday night meetings and not enough membership to support at that time, then we can't afford the rent, then it may be time for us to consider folding. And that doesn't mean that we've like failed as Alcoholics Anonymous. It just means we need to ask where this group might be needed elsewhere, or how we can support other meetings around us that have existed for longer. Right now, Area 46 in New Mexico is grappling with Tradition 7 a little bit. Our area is struggling to support the cost of hybrid assemblies. The funding that we're providing is not enough. And so what this has created is a tendency for these districts to feel like they need to fundraise. And I think fundraising in Alcoholics Anonymous is something that I'm not sure, it's not really how we're supposed to be accumulating funds. So our area is definitely struggling with being self-supporting in funding our assemblies. And the big question that we are grappling with is, how do we balance these struggles with Tradition 7?
My name is Leslie P. I'm an alcoholic, and the way the seventh tradition has impacted my life is I showed up in Alcoholics Anonymous as a taker, not a giver. I was very poor, and I was convinced that people with money should be supplementing my income. I was hustling cigarettes in meetings. I got called on it by an old timer, got really mad, took it to my sponsor, and she not only supported him and said I should not be doing that, but then she started talking to me about what I put into the basket. And she taught me that I put money into the basket to show that I actually did have something to give. I got here feeling useless. But that also I did not, with false pride, put money into the basket that I needed to be using to feed my children, because we really were very poor. And so sometimes that meant I put 20 cents into the basket instead of the $1 that I saw someone else putting in. And then as time went on and I had a little bit more money, that meant I could put more money in. Also, she taught me wash the coffee cups, wash the ashtrays, do some service to your group. That also is part of being self-supporting, the services that you bring. And that comes into our home with sharing chores and contributing financially, and not treating anyone in the home as if they are the source of everything and have to be obeyed, or they're my personal servant and should be ordered around.
My name is Liz. I'm an alcoholic from Los Angeles. The seventh tradition, I feel like I had a very unique experience with, because I was 14 when I got here. I knew nothing about how to manage money in any way, shape, or form. And so learning how to be a treasurer in my home group, what it meant to be fully self-supporting as a meeting, how to be accountable to other people for that support, like that I am one of many and we all need to come together in order to support the whole, right? Like all of those things taught me everything I know about my own personal finances. So more than just what it is to be self-supporting in a meeting, what it is to be fully self-supporting by making sure that the employees that AA does have, or the service commitments that require travel, like they're not doing us a favor by paying their own way. It is an important spiritual principle to be self-supporting through our own work, through our own contributions, and that anything that we do to benefit all of AA should be supported by all of AA.
My name is Leonard from Sanibel, Florida. I subscribe to the Grapevine because I love how when people share in the Grapevine by writing an article, it feels like they're sending me a personal letter, or they're writing not so much for publication. It's to let me see into somebody else's life. And I underline the Grapevine and I get ideas, and I love the size of it. It's just a cuddly, cozy little meeting in print. That's why I subscribe.
Subscriptions to Grapevine Magazine are available in print or in the app.
Thank you for supporting this podcast. We'd like you to be a subscriber, only $2.99 a month.
$3 a month? Come on.
I'm at the very wit's end. Cuckoo.
This one's from Jack A., Suffield, Connecticut. A man was sitting next to his wife and said, "I love you."
Is that you or the wine talking?
Oh, it's me talking to the wine.
It's really not that funny.
Thank you for joining us. The AA Grapevine Half Hour Variety Hour is posted every Monday and is produced by AA Grapevine, Inc. We don't speak for Alcoholics Anonymous as a whole, but we do share the experience, strength, and hope of members to help others recover from alcoholism. All things Grapevine are available at aagrapevine.org, including our app and how to get in touch with us. Find us on Instagram and YouTube. If you want to know more about Alcoholics Anonymous, visit aa.org or search Alcoholics Anonymous in your city.